JJCA Channel 17 Local Opinion News, the top opinion news broadcast of the tri-state area. I'm your host, Chad Alef, sitting alongside my good friend and co-host, Jack Jameson. The main story today, based on your viewer request, is the International Baccalaureate, or IB diploma program, and its use of mass media. Many of you are either thinking about putting your child into the IB program, actually doing the IB program as a student, or considering becoming an IB World School. Well, we're here today to examine the way with which the IB is portrayed by mass media and the extent to which it is accurate. Fortunately, we have Jack over here, who has worked very closely with the IB program for many years and is actually a spokesperson for them, as well as being my trusted co-host and partner of the show.
That's exactly right, Chad. I've had the pleasure of working for this fine program for many years before becoming JJCA's trusted co-host and anchor. And so finally I get to do a story that I'm extremely comfortable discussing. Many of our viewers at home are aware of the AP program, and the IB diploma program is just a different form of education for 11th and 12th graders. Used in over 4,000 schools throughout the world, the IB program provides a world-class education with a worldly perspective.
Now, before we go on, for the purposes of our audience really getting the truth, I want you to defend the IB in the advertisements, and I'm going to refute each argument. I want to get to the bottom of whether IB is what they say they are and how they use these ads to make them look potentially better than they really are.
That works for me. I love the IB ads. You hate them? Let's do this.
Great. So we turn to you, Jack, as a trusted expert of the IB program. What are the benefits of the IB?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm an expert per se.
As an expert. He's an expert, folks. Worked for many years with the program, and for all intents and purposes, please tell the viewer, as an expert of the IB, what the benefits are.
Well, I can just read some of the benefits of the IB directly off the IB website. In the IB system, students will be encouraged to think independently and to drive their own learning. Students will be encouraged to take part in programs that can lead them to some of the highest ranking universities in the world. Students will become more culturally aware through the development of a second language. And students will be able to engage with people in an increasingly globalized, rapidly changing world.
Well, from that, the IB sounds like some pretty good stuff. Probably should think about sending my kids there, right? Anyways, now that brings us to the topic of mass media and how it portrays them. I'm looking at the website itself and I'm seeing a whole lot of ethos and logos, but not a lot of pathos right here. I see the IB sends kids to all sorts of great universities and makes them worldly and recognizable and blah blah blah. And I see statistics all over the place, but what I don't see is a real personal emotional connection. Also, I'm assuming nothing on the IB website is negative in any way. Am I wrong?
We believe that the website offers a factually correct perspective and offers plenty of personal stories. Of course, no system is perfect. Oh, look! Here's an ad we have about how great the program is instead. Here you go.
The diploma program develops students who are able to flourish physically, intellectually, emotionally, and ethically.
I feel like if I had gone to any other school, I wouldn't have gotten all this training, I would say, in being aware that there are people out there that are different from me. And I feel like it's really helped me to understand these differences. And I feel like after IB, I can go out into the world and be successful wherever I go.
They're going to go into the world and they're going to be successful, but that success is for others as well. You know, they want to be successful for the community, for the world. It's not about personal gain all of the time. And so they're going out with a sensitivity as to their role in the world.
So, I drew out a few things said in that ad, and I quote, "The diploma program develops students who are able to flourish physically, intellectually, emotionally, and ethically." And I also heard the teacher saying, and I quote, "The IB is not about personal gain."
Now you took that quote completely out of context, Chad. You also failed to mention a quote said by the student, who by the way happens to be one of the most outstanding pupils the IB program has ever seen. And I quote, "After IB, I can go out into the world and become successful wherever I go." That's a common view among the entirety of our IB learning sphere.
Everyone? The entirety?
Well, I did a survey of 5 students from a higher level math course at nearby United Nations International School. And of those 5 students, all of them were accepted into engineering schools at Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Columbia, and Stanford, respectively.
Yeah, great. And I did a survey of 2 people within the studio who both went to Harvard. And so I guess that serves to show that if you go to Harvard, you'll work at the studio. What kind of fallacious reasoning are you using, Jack? How about you do a survey of 100 random students from a variety of communities who do the IB? Then you can use statistics to prove a point.
Chad, may I ask where you got that shirt? That's quite a nice shirt. You look good today.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I got it from Nordstrom. Back to the
Look,
point.
Chad, we're veering off topic here. Mass media. I stand by my claim that the advertisements used by the IB program is consistent with the product they are serving in classrooms. It does affect students in a positive way, whether physically, intellectually, emotionally, or ethically.
Well, Jack, let's turn to another form of mass media surrounding IB. There's a Facebook page titled IB Memes with over 150,000 likes that posts photos such as these. Now these memes receive thousands of likes. Some may be funny, some very crude. And it's not your typical form of mass media, but this definitely shows a perspective not from the IB themselves. And it seems a bit contradictory to what the IB is saying, no?
Social media has given students a new way to express themselves. And yes, IB is a rigorous program. And yes, students may become frustrated during the program. But I can personally guarantee that students will come out of the IB diploma program more prepared than others.
Personally?
Yes, personally. I have two sons, Emmett and Josh, one who turned 23 and one who turned 27 years old this past October. Emmett, the older one, was placed in a fantastic school with the AP program. After taking 5 APs and narrowly passing all of them, he ventured to a mid-tier college and is now working in Indiana as a lumberjack. I still love the man all the same, but I feel like he hasn't lived up to his true potential. Josh, on the other hand, was quite a handful as a child, but he's accepted into an IB World School and pursued the full diploma. He too made those crazy suicide jokes and had late nights, but he went on to an Ivy League school, and coming out of college, accepted a job at an investment bank firm in Tokyo, making over $400,000 a year.
So that may be a bit fallacious again, as you can't necessarily say that it was all IB against the AP and that affected their futures. I mean, you see people doing the AP program and becoming successful all the time. But when you see those memes and you compare it to what the IB is saying in their ads about how the IB allows students to flourish emotionally and physically, I'm not quite sure I can agree with that. I don't necessarily believe that IB is falsely advertising, but I just don't think they're showing the whole truth. Don't you think that we should be shown exactly what we're sending our kids into? Don't you as a student want to know what lies ahead?
Okay, let's be frank. Where in advertisements do you see an organization bash themselves?
I'm not saying bash themselves. I'm just saying the audience has a right to know exactly what the IB program does.
And that's the problem with mass media. Organizations show what the people want to see.
Alright, well, here's what I did. I went to nearby Lamont Manhattan Prep and interviewed some 12th grade students. I asked them their thoughts on the IB program and how they think it has helped them flourish. I used the same language and style as the one IB ad we showed above. Let me know what you think.
The International Baccalaureate, while rigorous, provides and equips students with the necessary tools to succeed not only in their secondary years but also beyond. The diploma program is difficult. Students may feel overwhelmed and anxious by the workload. Whether a 4,000-word extended research essay or 2 philosophical projects, the diploma program prepares students for what's ahead, and students will look back upon their years with fondness and appreciation.
The IB, it's extremely hard and it is emotionally draining because I'm up every night, 3 o'clock, trying to get my last assignments crammed in. And but besides that, I feel like after I finish the IB course, I'll look back at it and I'll be very accomplished with what I did.
IB is basically like volunteering for crucifixion, but at the end, you've gained a lot. My kid, for example, when he faced his first serious college essay, said, "Oh, there's nothing compared to the extended essay." So I think it prepares you well for a serious academic environment.
While emotionally draining, it is through this extensive preparation that students will find themselves ahead of those not equipped with the IB diploma. We are the IB Continuum, education for a better world.
I really like the way you stylized the ad to be like the IB because I think the effect that language and style has on the audience is beneficial to all parties.
I enjoyed making the ad. Lamont seems like a wonderful internationally focused school, and all the students I talked to were outgoing and intelligent.
I'm really glad you said that, Chad, because we at the IB want to prepare students for life outside the classroom, and positive social interactions are an important part of everyday life out in the real world.
It was great to talk to you about the IB. I feel like I have a more developed perspective, so thank you. I am confident that I just gave you, the audience, all the hidden truths necessary to understand the IB program from not just their perspective, but the students' as well. We see IB throughout mass media, and it's all a matter of perspective.
The IB program is a fantastic way to prepare students for the next step in their lives, but it is not for everyone. And Chad and I hope we've given you the tools to make an informed decision.
Join us next week when we discuss the pros and cons of standardized testing.